What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Watch Me Mix. We're mixing A Place for Us by Gonzalez, and I'm just about to start work on the drums here, and I have some fun ideas. Let me just bring you up to speed with where we are. We've got a lot of drum tracks, so everything that I'm selecting here is all drums and or percussion. So a lot of drum tracks. I'm going to take you through it real quick. We have these dark red ones right here. These are all. I'll solo them up for you. This is just basically the acoustic drum kit. Real simple. Then we have sort of this duplicate of the acoustic drum kit with some electronic stuff too. That sounds like this. Now what's going on here is this is a mix of samples, as well as I noticed we have this kick, sub, snare, and overheads, and then we get into samples. It seems like these are sort of parallel compressed versions. So like if we listen to this track here, the snare versus this here. Different sound, right? Even if we listen to the different mic here. So it sounds like this is either like another kit. It says drum kit 2, so it could be a completely different kit, but also it's sort of mixed differently. These are much more heavily compressed. And then this, the kick as well. These are pretty heavy. I know it's kind of quiet right now, but they're just heavily done. It's quiet right now because if we look at the actual tracks, I have them down -15. So anyway, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to treat this secondary kit, this kit 2, like parallel compression, including the overheads here. And then we'll mix in the samples and stuff separately. That's why I have things sort of color coded. So I'm going to treat this first kit as my primary kit. We're going to use this for parallel compression, and we're going to use this for the samples and electronic stuff that we'll mix in on top. So let's get into this. This is going to be a cool example of parallel compression. So the kit by itself, I'm going to do some real simple sort of levels, panning, maybe some EQ, maybe some light compression, because we're going to have the parallel, and we'll get right into it. So the kit 1 with this kick right here. So I'll bring this up so we can hear it. Really simple. Let's listen to this one. This is sort of the sub stuff. This is very low. I'm just going to get an EQ going on this. We're going to pull out anything that's high. Don't need any of that cymbal noise in here. This is just going to give me that heartbeat. We can see it's resonating somewhere around 45, 50, 60, somewhere in there. So we're just going to keep that as that super low stuff, and we'll get a compressor on top of that just to make sure it's nice and controlled. And we're going to use the rock kick. Just going for a couple dB of compression on that, adjusting the threshold, nothing else. And that gives us a little bit of control over the gain of that. Let's go to the first one now, which gives us more slap. And let's start with a compressor on this one. Same thing, we're going to go to rock kick. That's not bad. Let's get an EQ on it. So this one is sort of resonating somewhere in the 80 range. I don't think I'm going to take any high end off, really. I mean, we have enough slap, maybe just a little bit here. Get rid of some of the cymbals. And then I'm going to compress that again with the same patch here. Just a couple dB of reduction. Good. So I'm happy with that for now. I'm going to set that to -6, just sort of arbitrarily. And then what I'm going to do is mix in the super low one. This is going to sound like nothing unless you got headphones on. Good. And then what I'm going to do is just pull them both back together. I like this blend. And we'll pull them both back to, I don't know, let's say -11, -9. That's a decent spot there. And that's going to be my starting kick sound. Okay, so let's get over to these snares. I'm going really, really sort of fast and dirty on this. Got that snare. This is going to be the top end snare. And I think I'm just going to compress these guys, maybe take some of the low end out, but not much. I mean, I want that thud in there. And we'll use the, this is going to be the snare top, I think. Okay, just controlling some of the dynamics here, just a little compression. And then let's see what happens if we pull some of the low end out of those floor toms and stuff. Yeah, I'm happy with this. I don't want to pull too much low end out. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's see what happens if I just copy this compressor right over. Yeah, I want to go real light on the compression, knowing that I'm going to get sidechain compression in. So just again, a couple dB, nothing crazy. And EQ. Let's get rid of this room tone. This mic is really all about the slap of the snare, not so much the smack or the thud. In fact, I'm going to swap these and compress after I EQ. Okay, let's mix the kick in. Pull these all back so we're not peaking over here. Okay, hi-hat. This is just providing room noise right now. We hear it over here. So we're just going to make sure we have just the high stuff in. We're going to pan that for now a little bit to the right. Maybe 10 to the right. All right, now we got some of these toms here. It looks like we have 3 toms. So what I'll do is I'll just do a quick pan on these. We're going to do 10. So what I'm doing for panning is I'm going the perspective of the listener. So the hi-hat would be a touch more to the right. 10. 10 on this side, and then we'll go maybe 15 on this side, and we're just going to get a little bit of stereo spread on those. I'm not going to get into mixing these too much individually right now. I think it's a little bit of a can of worms that we might not need. I'm just going to treat them as a group. Good. Now let's mix in the room. Good. I want to pull out some of the low room tone. Yeah, see how much this low stuff in here. We want to be careful. It's just going to turn into mud. So just pulling out a little bit of that low stuff. Another room mic. Now we have some space. It sounds like the drums are happening in a room. And then pulling out low end of that one too, just a little bit. And another room. This is the stereo spread, so we're going to use a fair amount of this one. I'm going to pull these other two rooms back a little bit and go with the stereo as the primary. Rolling off a little bit of low end. And I'm going to pull the toms back a little bit because there's a ton of them in the overheads. This is that can of worms I didn't want to open. Just mix in enough that we can hear them. I still want to hear that kick. Okay. So there's my basic drum sound here. I like my gain levels to be 0.5 increments. Don't judge me. Okay, so now I can move this whole drum sound up or down. And I'm pretty happy with this. So what I'm going to do next here is I'm going to start the process of doing some sidechain compression on these guys. So give me a minute here. I'm just going to give these a quick mix relative to each other on levels. I'll be right back. Okay, and here's what I came up with these mics here. All I did is on this first kick, I just did a little EQ, pulling out the super low stuff, and on these overheads, I did just this, pulling out a lot of the low stuff on the overheads, but that gives me this sound with the snare as the primary thing. The kicks are a little bit lower. Nice big smack on that snare, and we're going to feed that all into a compressor and mix that into the original. So I'm going to right click, create a track stack. We're going to make it a summing stack, create, and we'll call it drum sidechain. Well, it's actually not a sidechain. It's parallel compression. So we'll call it PC. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a compressor in here, but we're going to use a mastering compressor. We're going to use the, let's see, the SSL comp here. And I don't know if there's a preset for this. Let me check. Yeah, and there is a preset that I used. I'm using the Pooch Drum Crush preset here, but check this out. So here it is without this compressor. Here it is with it. The only thing I adjusted on this is the makeup gain. I cranked that a little bit, and I just wanted the makeup gain to match the sort of the input signal. But yeah, that's basically the sidechain, or I'm sorry, I keep saying sidechain, the parallel compression. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull this all the way out. And then we're going to solo these guys, the first kit, and we're going to mix this one in. So that's a good demonstration of parallel compression. Really gives the drums some beef and some bite. Here it is without it. There it is without it, right here, just like that. And with it. And without. And if you look at the fader while I do that, you can go back in the video and watch the fader. It's not that much quieter, but it sounds so much louder with it. So when I pull this out, it's not like it just gets quieter, but it feels and sounds like it gets quieter. So parallel compression on the drums. So it's time to add these samples in. We're going to do that on the next episode.